At Christmas dinner, my mom laughed and told my 8-year-old daughter, Christmas will be for the grandkids who know how to behave. So I sold their house and watched them rage while their perfect image crumbled online. Hey Reddit, my family always treated me like their personal ATM. I finally cut them off, took care of my daughter, and started living on my own terms. But they didn't take that well. Before I tell you how it all fell apart, let me start from the beginning. My name's Ryan. I'm 35, run a small contracting business outside Cleveland, mostly remodels and roofing. I've got an 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Smart kid, quiet, tries too hard to be polite sometimes. I'm divorced. I see her more than her mom does, which is fine. My parents don't think much of me. My brother Eric's the favorite. Lazy, always broke, somehow always bragging. Every December we do this family dinner at my parents' house, and every year I swear it's the last time. Their place looked like something out of a catalog. Matching wreaths, lights everywhere, fake candles in every window. Inside smelled like cinnamon spray and pot roast. Mom shouted from the kitchen the second we walked in. Ryan, you made it! Oh, and Lily, you look so cute! She said it like it hurt to compliment her. Eric was already at the table, talking loud about his new SUV. Yeah, I figured I earned it this year. Work's been killing me. Everyone laughed even though he hasn't held a steady job in years. Mom jumped in. He's finally being responsible. It's nice to see one of my boys doing well. Dad nodded. Not everyone's cut out for success. I didn't say anything. I've learned that when they fish for reactions, silence pisses them off more. Lily sat next to me, trying to stay still, eyes wide. She's used to noise, but not this kind. Dinner started. Mom passed dishes around and kept talking about Eric's goals and how proud she was. Eric leaned across the table. So how's business, man? Still doing little house jobs? He grinned like it was a joke. It's fine, I said. That's good. Somebody's got to fix stuff. He winked at Dad. Not everyone can afford to hire people like you, huh? Mom laughed too hard. Eric's just teasing, she said, but it sounded mean. Lily tried to hand me the butter, but her sleeve caught her glass. Juice spilled across the table, soaking Mom's fancy napkins. Mom's face changed like someone flipped a switch. Oh my God, Lily, she snapped. You need to be careful. Christmas will be for the grandkids who know how to behave. Lily froze, her small hands shaking. I'm sorry, Grandma. Eric smirked. Like father, like daughter. That was it. Something in me clicked. I stood up slow, pushed my chair back. What did you just say? He raised his eyebrows. Relax, man. It's a joke. Say it again, I said. Dad sighed, already annoyed. Don't start, Ryan. You always make everything a problem. I looked at him. No, Dad, I fix problems. You just ignore them. Mom crossed her arms. You don't talk to your father that way in this house. This house? I laughed once. Pretty sure the mortgage says otherwise. That made them all go quiet for a second. Eric tried to jump in. You're embarrassing yourself. I stared at him. You've been living off everyone else your whole life. You don't even know what embarrassment feels like. He pushed his chair back. You want to say that again? Lily grabbed my sleeve under the table. I looked down at her. She looked terrified. That was enough. I took her hand, helped her off the chair, and grabbed her coat. We're done here, I said. Mom shouted after me. You're overreacting like always. You can't just storm off every time someone tells the truth. I didn't answer. The front door shut behind us hard enough to rattle the wreath. Outside, the cold air felt better than the heat in that room. I buckled Lily in and started the truck. She stared out the window, quiet. Halfway down the street, I looked at her reflection. Her eyes were wet, but she wasn't crying. You okay, kiddo? She nodded but didn't speak. I knew this wasn't just one bad night. It was every snide comment, every fake laugh, every time I'd let them talk down to me while pretending it didn't matter. Instead of going home, I took a left toward town. You hungry? She looked up, confused. Yeah. We ended up at the diner off Route 8, the one with the old jukebox and flickering neon sign. The waitress knew me by name. We sat in the corner booth. Lily ordered pancakes with chocolate chips and extra whipped cream. I got fries and coffee. She started talking again after a few bites, showing me drawings on her tablet. Her laugh came back slow, but it came back. When we finished, I paid the bill and walked her across the street to the toy store still open for the holidays. Pick anything you want, I said. She looked around for a while before grabbing a small gray stuffed wolf with one ear bent. This one. Good pick, I said. I paid cash, folded the receipt, and stuck it in my wallet. On the drive home, she held the wolf tight against her chest. Is Grandma mad? She asked quietly. She can be mad all she wants, I said. That's not on you. The road was empty, snow starting to fall. She yawned and leaned her head against the window. They won't talk to you like that again, I said. She was asleep before I finished the sentence, still holding the wolf. Lily fell asleep almost as soon as we got home. I tucked her in, left the wolf toy next to her pillow, and went to my office. The house was quiet except for the furnace clicking on and off. The glow from the monitor made the whole room feel colder. I sat down and saw the stack of folders I hadn't opened in a while. The one marked mortgage. Parents was near the bottom. I pulled it out, dropped it on the desk, and opened it. Inside were bank letters. Notice of non-payment, same window envelopes, different months. March, June, September. All for the original mortgage. Halfway down the stack, a different letterhead with a newer date. Home equity line of credit. Welcome packet. It had a digital signature that looked like mine. I never signed it. I pulled up my accounts. Regular withdrawals, sure, but the transaction IDs matched the HELOC account number on the welcome packet, not the original note. They'd starved the mortgage while feeding a HELOC. I snapped a photo of the forged signature and the HELOC letter, then slid everything back into the folder. I sat back, staring at the paper. They'd used my name to open a HELOC and kept letting me cover the bills like I wouldn't notice. Then I left it open on the desk. The wolf toy was right beside it, one bent ear pointed at the screen like it was listening. Next morning, I called Mike, my banker. He's one of those guys who still handles calls himself. Hey, Mike, it's Ryan. Hey, man, long time. What's up? I've got a question about the mortgage under my parents' address. Can you pull it up? Sure, give me a second. He clicked around for a bit. Okay, I've got it. Still under your name. Why? They're occupants, not on title, I said. I've been paying the note. Also, I'm looking at letters saying they haven't paid in years. And there's a HELOC, says I signed for it. He hesitated. Yeah, looks like a HELOC opened off the equity. It shows an e-signature. IP and device don't match your logins. Autopay's hitting that account. The original mortgage is still delinquent. Then somebody used your info. You'll need to talk to a lawyer, Ryan. After work, I drove past their house. Eric's new SUV was parked out front, shiny and spotless. Same one he bragged about at dinner. There was a new set of patio furniture on the porch too. Paid for, no doubt. With the same money that should have gone to the bank. I kept driving. No reason to stop. Back at my truck, I called Tom, my lawyer. We went to high school together. He still answers calls like it's the 90s. Hey man, everything good? He said. How fast can you file to terminate their right to occupy and get me possession? I said. That depends. Why, someone stopped paying. Yeah, my parents. Been years. He let out a low whistle. You're listed as the primary? Yep. Then it's straightforward. We'll serve a notice to vacate and file for possession. Once the court grants it, you control the property. Start it today, I said. You sure? Completely. He said he'd send papers by the afternoon. I hung up, parked at a gas station, and opened my laptop. I logged into my accounts and went down the list. Mortgage autopay, canceled. Insurance, canceled. Property tax autopay, canceled. Then I checked utilities. Electricity, water, internet, all linked to my card. Canceled every one. I even found a family phone plan tied to my business account. Eric's number was on it. That got cut too. When I was done, I opened a new email to Tom. Subject, property possession order. Proceed with filing and enforcement. Don't delay. I read it once, hit send. That was it. No anger left, just work that needed doing. By noon, my phone buzzed with 3 missed calls from my mom and 1 from Eric. I ignored them. That evening, I came home and saw Lily curled up on the couch watching cartoons, wolf tucked under her arm. She looked peaceful. I sat beside her, not saying anything. For the first time in a long time, it felt like I'd done something right. By Thursday morning, I'd had enough of the voicemails. My mother had called 6 times, each one some mix of guilt and fake concern. Eric texted twice about figuring things out like adults. I didn't reply to any of it. I put the folder with the mortgage letters on the passenger seat and drove to their house. It was bright and cold, snow melting into gray puddles along the curb. Their house looked the same as always. Perfect from the outside, fake wreath, new porch furniture. I parked in the driveway and saw Eric's SUV glinting in the sun, the same one bought with money that wasn't his. Mom opened the door before I could knock. Her smile was too wide. Ryan, finally, I was just saying we should talk this out. She reached to hug me but stopped when she saw the folder in my hand. Oh, you brought paperwork. Always so serious. Inside, Dad sat at the table with coffee, pretending to read the paper. Eric leaned against the counter, phone in hand. They looked up like I was interrupting something important. Mom grabbed a pie from the counter. I just baked this. Sit. Have a slice. You look tired. I'm not here for pie, I said. Eric smirked. You still mad about dinner? You gotta let things go, man. I dropped the folder on the table. The papers slid out. Copies of the unpaid balance, the HELOC agreement, the forged signature. Explain this. Mom blinked, looked down, then up again. You're taking things out of context. Dad folded his paper slow. We were going to fix it, Ryan. The bank messed up some transfers. It's not what you think. Eric shrugged, crossing his arms. Dude, you make more money than all of us. You're acting like this is a big deal. It is, I said flat. You forged my name. That's not a mistake. Eric scoffed. Nobody forged anything. You probably forgot signing it. I don't forget things that risk my credit, I said. You needed money for that SUV and Mom helped you pull it. Dad's jaw tightened. Watch your mouth. You don't talk to your brother like that. Then he shouldn't steal, I said. Mom's tone sharpened. Steal? How dare you accuse your own family? Everything we've done, we did to keep this family together. You mean to keep me paying for it? I said. Eric pushed off the counter. You think you're better than us now? You do a few jobs and suddenly you're the boss of everyone. I don't think I'm better, I said. I just stopped letting people take advantage of me. He stepped closer. You want to run your mouth? Go ahead, but you're not walking in here acting like we owe you anything. You do owe me, I said. For the mortgage, for the HELOC, for every bill I've paid for 3 years. Dad stood up, voice low but mean. You're ungrateful. After everything we've done for you, I laughed once. What exactly did you do for me, Dad? Because the bank says it was my name that saved this house, not yours. The room went silent except for the fridge humming. Mom's eyes were wet, but her voice was still sharp. You're making a fool of yourself. I looked at Lily's photo on my phone, sitting on the home screen. That was enough to calm me. I gathered the papers, slid them back into the folder, and said, This was your chance to come clean. You didn't take it. Mom reached for my arm. Ryan, wait. I pulled back. No more waiting. Eric muttered something under his breath. I didn't ask him to repeat it. I walked to the door, slow and steady. Nobody followed. Outside, the cold hit like a wall, but it felt better than that kitchen ever did. I didn't slam the door. I didn't need to. By the time I got back to my truck, I could hear them yelling through the windows. My dad shouting about respect, Mom crying loud enough for the neighbors to hear. I didn't look back. I drove to a diner parking lot, sat there for a few minutes, and called Tom. It's done, I said. He just said, Good. That night, I sat at my desk, the wolf toy beside my laptop again. I opened my phone and scrolled through the family group chat. The last messages were from my mom. A picture of a Christmas wreath with the caption, Family means everything. I typed one message, Don't call me for money again. Then I muted the chat, blocked every number except Lily's and the sitters, and put my phone face down. On my carrier, blocked calls still dumped straight to voicemail, and no caller ID or new numbers slipped through. The next morning, there were 12 missed calls. I didn't answer any of them. Overnight, they'd switched to fresh numbers and no caller ID, so the blocks didn't catch them. The next week started quiet, but it didn't last. By Monday afternoon, I got a text from a friend. Dude, have you seen your mom's Facebook? I opened the app and there it was, a long post written like a sermon. Sometimes, she wrote, you raise children who forget who fed them. Some hearts grow cold, but God sees everything. The comments were full of sympathy. Her friends posted crying emojis and prayers. A few cousins I hadn't talked to in years were asking what happened. She never said my name, but everyone knew. An hour later, Dad shared the same post with a caption, Family shouldn't turn on each other over money. Eric chimed in too, posting a photo of his SUV with a caption that said, Hard work pays off. That one almost made me laugh. By evening, my phone was buzzing nonstop with messages from relatives. You should call your mom. She's hurting. It's just money. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I took 10 minutes, pulled receipts from my folder, snapped photos of the invoices, bank transfers, wire confirmations, everything. I made one single post on my own page. Since people are asking, here's the truth. I attached the screenshots, no explanation, no captions, just facts. Then I logged out and deleted my account. I didn't need to argue. The internet would handle the rest. Within a day, my phone was full of new messages, this time from people apologizing. Didn't know you were the one paying the bills? Your folks always said they helped you. The sympathy started shifting. Mom and Dad doubled down. Another post. Not everything online is what it seems, but this time the comments were different. Fewer likes, no prayer hands, no sympathy. People stopped defending them. Their perfect family image started cracking. 2 days later, my ex-wife texted me out of nowhere. Your mom's been calling me. What's going on? I sent her 3 of the same screenshots. Handled, I wrote. She replied once, got it. And that was the end of that. Thursday morning, I was at the job site when one of my guys, Luis, came over and said, hey, there's people asking for you out front. Loud ones. I walked around the truck and there they were. My parents and Eric, standing by the gate like they owned the place. Mom was waving her phone in the air, Dad's face red, Eric leaning on his hood like he was posing for a magazine. Ryan, Mom shouted. You think embarrassing us online makes you right? I didn't raise my voice. You shouldn't be here. Dad stepped forward. You think you can just humiliate your family? You take food off our table, and now you want to ruin our name? I didn't ruin anything, I said. You did that yourselves. Eric smirked. You always were a drama queen, man. My foreman, Chris, walked up beside me, hands in his pockets. Everything okay, boss? Yeah, I said. Escort them off the site. Chris nodded and signaled 2 of the crew to walk them back toward the street. Mom started shouting about forgiveness. Dad swore he'd sue me, and Eric kept saying, you'll regret this. I didn't respond to any of it. My guys watched quietly. When it was over, I turned and said, all right, back to work. No one asked questions. If anything, they respected me more for not losing it. That night, I came home late. Lily was coloring at the kitchen table, the wolf toy sitting beside her. Did you have a good day? She asked. Busy, I said. Want to see something cool this weekend? She nodded fast. Saturday morning, I took her out to one of our new builds. The sky was clear, air cold enough that our breath hung in front of us. The site was quiet. No crew, just us. I handed her a little hard hat I'd brought and a piece of chalk. Go ahead, write your name on one of those beams. She looked up at me like I was joking. I wasn't. She walked over and wrote in big, shaky letters, Lily. Nice work, I said. This one's ours. She smiled, proud. Really? Really? We stood there for a minute, looking at the chalk letters in the cold sunlight. Then she said, can I draw a wolf next to it? Sure, I said. She did. A simple outline with big ears and a tail that curved up. She laughed when it came out crooked. Driving home, she kept talking about how we should build our own house one day. I told her maybe we would. When she fell asleep that night, the wolf toy tucked under her arm. I sat at my desk again. My phone buzzed a few times. Missed calls from Mom, one from a blocked number that was probably Eric. I didn't open any of them. I just looked at the picture I'd taken of the beam earlier, Lily's name bright against the steel. That was all the proof I needed that I was finally building something real. The week after they showed up at my job site, things got quiet again. Too quiet. That kind of silence where you know someone's planning something. Monday morning, I was going through my company books. Just normal stuff. Payroll, invoices, tax prep. Then I noticed something odd. A batch of receipts under my business name for work I didn't do. Landscaping, window installs, HVAC repairs, all billed to random addresses around town. Same template, same logo, same license number. Mine. At first, I thought maybe one of my subcontractors filed wrong. Then I saw the contact number listed on the invoices. It was Eric's. I opened my truck glove box where I keep a folder of old paperwork. One of the fake invoices was almost identical to mine, down to the misspelled word in the header that only I used to joke about. He must have copied one of my old PDFs, slapped his number on it, and started taking side jobs under my name. I called the county business office, pretending to check on a duplicate registration. They confirmed a complaint had already been filed against my company for an unfinished job, one I'd never heard of. That was enough. I printed everything, stapled it together, and drove straight to the police station on my lunch break. The officer behind the desk looked tired, but listened. I explained everything, handed him the folder, and told him to check the phone number on the invoices. He typed a few notes, then asked, "You want to file this as fraud?" "Yeah," I said, quietly. "No drama. Just handle it." He nodded and stamped a report number on my copy. "Sign an affidavit, and we'll seek a warrant." The following week they did. I got a call from a detective named Daniels. "Mr. Carter, your brother's vehicle is registered under his name, correct?" "Yeah, black SUV. We confirmed he's been using your business license illegally. We executed a warrant this morning. We're impounding his vehicle and tools as evidence pending the investigation. You might get some calls. Thanks for the heads up," I said and hung up. By that evening, I had 6 voicemails. Mom's voice was the first one, shaking with anger. You turned your own brother in? You've lost your mind, Ryan. Then Dad. You better fix this. You think this is funny? The cops just towed his truck out of the driveway. You better call them back and tell them it's a misunderstanding. I didn't. I went outside to clear my head, but it didn't help. 15 minutes later, I saw headlights through the gate camera. My phone buzzed with the motion alert. License plate matched my dad's old pickup. They got out shouting before they even reached the gate. Ryan! Dad's voice carried across the yard. Open this damn thing right now. I stayed on the porch, phone in hand, recording. Mom was crying loud enough for the neighbors to hear. How could you do this to your own brother? He was trying to get his life together. I kept filming. Leave my property. Dad slammed the gate with his fist. You're a disgrace. Back up, I said. You're trespassing. They didn't move, so I turned and walked inside. The gate cameras caught the rest. Dad pacing, Mom yelling, both of them swearing they'd make me regret this. I sent the video to Tom, my lawyer, along with the police report. He called back a few minutes later. Got it. If they keep that up, I'll file for a restraining order. Do it if they show up again, I said. You sure? Once that's filed, there's no going back. I'm sure. The next morning at work, my foreman, Chris, walked over while I was cutting boards. Hey boss, mind if I say something? Go ahead. Word gets around, man. People talk. Family, cops, lawyers. It can look messy. You should be careful. Watch your rep. I kept working. They messed it already. I'm just cleaning it up. He nodded. Fair enough. He didn't bring it up again. Later that day, one of my regular clients asked if everything was okay. She'd seen something online about Eric's truck getting seized. I told her, business is fine. Family's just noisy. She nodded and didn't ask more. That night, the house felt heavier than usual. I made dinner, checked Lily's homework, and watched her draw at the table. She was sketching the wolf toy, giving it a little hat. Cute, I said. She smiled. Can I bring it to show and tell tomorrow? Sure. After she went to bed, I walked into my office. The wolf toy was sitting on the shelf next to the folder of documents. For a second, I thought about everything. My parents, Eric, the noise they were making online. It was all background compared to the silence in this house. I picked up the wolf, ran my thumb across the bent ear, and sat down. Part of me wondered if Lily would ask about her grandparents again. She hadn't since Christmas, but I knew the question would come. Why don't they visit anymore? I'd tell her the truth when she was old enough. That love isn't supposed to hurt. That family doesn't mean you have to accept being lied to. It might hurt her someday, but I wasn't raising her to think abuse was love. I set the wolf back on the shelf, beside the folder that held every document proving what they'd done. The phone buzzed once, another blocked number. I let it ring. Then I turned off the lights, walked down the hall, and checked on Lily. She was asleep, holding the wolf tight. Outside, the gate camera blinked red in the dark, recording, just in case. By the time the new year was a week away, everything was ready. Tom called me on a Thursday morning while I was loading tools into the truck. It's done, he said. The court granted possession. Title was already in your name. Now you've got legal control. Good, I said. He paused. Before you sign the possession order and related filings, I need to warn you. If they find out, they could accuse you of elder exploitation. It wouldn't hold, but it'll get ugly. I wiped my hands on a rag. They've been exploiting me for 10 years, Tom. This just evens it out. He didn't argue. All right, I'll send the paperwork. You'll need to sign in person. That afternoon, I drove to his office downtown. The papers were stacked neatly on the desk, everything labeled. Tom watched me skim through each page. When I reached the last one, he said, once you sign this, we can enforce the order. You can change the locks and list it. They'll have no legal right to stay. Good, I said again, and signed. He slid the folder toward himself. What are you going to do with it? Sell it, I said. Let someone else deal with the ghosts. He nodded once, stamped the documents, and handed me a copy. You've earned some peace. I drove home without music, without calling anyone. I didn't need to celebrate. The next few days went quiet again. No calls, no yelling. Then, on New Year's Eve, my phone buzzed with notifications from the old family group chat. I hadn't looked at it in weeks. The chat was full of pictures. Mom's living room decorated with string lights, champagne glasses, everyone dressed like the perfect family again. Eric took a selfie in front of the tree, captioned, Family Forever. Dad posted a blurry shot of the dinner table. Even when things get hard, we stay strong. Fake smiles, fake peace. I stared at it for a minute, then opened my files. Screenshots of every bank transfer, every invoice, the letter from the credit union with my forged signature. All there. I typed one final message. Every dinner you bragged about, every bill you ignored, I paid. This is the last thing you'll get from me. Then I attached the documents and hit send. Within seconds, Seen By started popping up under the message. I didn't wait for replies. I held the leave chat button until it asked, "Are you sure?" and hit yes. That was the last time I ever opened that chat. We'd filed weeks earlier, and Tom already had a cash investor on standby. The listing draft and photos were queued, waiting on possession. The next morning, I got an alert from the real estate site. The property listing was live. We'd been ready. For sale signs were scheduled for installation that same morning. I didn't plan to drive by, but after dropping Lily off at a friend's birthday party, I found myself heading toward their neighborhood. Habit, maybe. Closure. The street was full of parked cars and trash cans knocked over by the wind. The sheriff's office had executed the writ that morning. In the yard, a sign read, "For sale. Cash buyer preferred." Eric was standing next to it, yanking at the post with both hands. His jacket was half-zipped, his face red. Someone across the street was recording with their phone. "Take that down!" I could hear him yelling, even through the truck windows. He gave up after a few tugs, kicked the sign, and stormed toward the porch. Mom sat on the steps in her robe, holding her phone like a microphone. "This is betrayal," she was shouting. "You don't do this to your own family." Dad was pacing behind her, yelling at the people filming. "Turn that off! None of your business!" I parked half a block away, out of sight. For a minute, I just watched. Neighbors were standing in their driveways, pretending not to look while looking. The same people who used to wave when I showed up with groceries or tools. One of them called out, "Isn't that your son's house now?" Dad shouted something back. I couldn't make out. Eric threw up his hands and stormed inside. I waited until a locksmith's van pulled into the driveway. Tom must have sent them early. The guy went to work changing the locks while Mom sat on the steps crying louder, probably for the cameras she hoped were watching. When the locksmith finished, he nodded toward the sign, then drove off. I put the truck in gear and rolled past slowly. Mom saw me through the window. She stood up, still holding the phone. I could tell she was shouting my name, but I couldn't hear her. I didn't stop. At the end of the block, I turned right and didn't look back. By the time I got home, there were already videos online. Neighbors had posted clips of Eric trying to rip the sign out, of Mom yelling about betrayal, of Dad waving his arms at the camera. The comments weren't kind. People remembered the Facebook rants from earlier in the month. They remembered the receipts I'd posted. The sympathy they'd had for my parents was gone. I made dinner for Lily that night. Simple stuff. Mac and cheese and cut-up apples. She sat across from me, humming to herself. "Good day?" I asked. "Yeah," she said. "We played tag at recess. I won twice." "Nice." She smiled, holding the wolf toy in her lap. "Are we still making pancakes tomorrow?" "Of course," I said. When she went to bed, I stepped out onto the porch. The air was cold and still. For once, my phone was quiet. The house across the street had its Christmas lights still up, flickering in the dark. Mine were off. I liked it that way. The next morning, Tom texted me a screenshot. "Possession confirmed. Listing live. Sale pending." All I replied was, "Thanks." Then I deleted the message and put the phone face down. Everything that needed to happen had happened, and for the first time in years, there was nothing left to fix. The sale closed 2 weeks after New Year's. The buyer was a property investment company out of Columbus. Cash deal, no negotiation. I didn't even have to show up for the final walkthrough. Tom handled it all. By the time the papers cleared, my parents were out. Eric helped them move what was left into his wife's parents' house across town. From what Tom told me, the move wasn't peaceful. The neighbors watched from their driveways while a moving van sat half-loaded in the street. Mom yelled at the movers. Dad refused to sign the release. Eric just stood there, chain-smoking and blaming everyone but himself. Their perfect family reputation died the same day that for sale sign went up. The Facebook rants stopped. The relatives stopped calling, and the friends who used to fill Mom's comment section with hearts quietly unfollowed her. I didn't celebrate. I didn't need to. The job was done. Lily and I moved a month later, southeast into the foothills, just outside a small ridge town. I found a place that needed work. 2 bedrooms, old wood stove, no neighbors close enough to overhear anything. Perfect for us. The first week there, we spent our evenings unpacking boxes and watching the fire. Lily kept the wolf toy on the window ledge facing the woods. She said it looked like it was guarding the house. I didn't argue. Work slowed down in the winter, so I took smaller jobs, fixing fences, hanging drywall, helping locals with snow removal. It was enough. Simple, steady. No drama, no phones buzzing every hour. Then, in February, The storm hit. A blizzard warning flashed on the local news. Heavy snow, strong winds, freezing temperatures. It was the kind that shuts everything down for a few days. While Lily was coloring at the table, I turned the volume up. The reporter mentioned widespread outages back near the city, the same area my parents still lived in. I didn't want to think about it, but I did. Their in-laws' house was old, probably running on an overworked furnace. I opened my laptop, found a motel near their side of town, and bought a 3-night prepaid voucher. Then I called the front desk and told them an older couple might show up without a reservation. Put them in as a walk-in and charge my voucher, I said. No names in the notes. The next day, while Lily was building a Lego house on the floor, my phone buzzed with a voicemail. The number wasn't saved, but I recognized it immediately. Blocked or not, unknown numbers still land in my voicemail. I played it on speaker. Mom's voice came through, soft and tired. Someone must have taken pity on us. The motel had a room waiting. Guess there's still good people out there. I listened once, then deleted it. I didn't tell Lily. There was no point. She didn't need to know I'd helped. She didn't need to see me trying to fix things again. When the storm passed, we went outside. Snow covered everything. The trees, the roof, the old pickup in the driveway. Lily tugged on her coat and ran out with the wolf toy under her arm. Come on, Dad. Help me build a fort. I followed her into the yard. The air was cold enough to sting, but the sky was clear. We worked together, packing snow into thick walls. She laughed the whole time, cheeks red, hair sticking to her hat. When we finished, she stuck the wolf on top of the fort like a little flag. There, she said. Now it's guarding us too. Looks good, I said. She smiled, proud. It's our house now. Yeah, I said. It is. We stayed outside until the light started fading, then went in to warm up. I lit the stove and made grilled cheese while she changed into pajamas. After dinner, she curled up on the couch and asked if we could carve our initials somewhere so the house knows we belong. So we went out to the porch. I brought my pocket knife and carved our initials side by side into the wooden post by the steps. She traced the letters with her mitten. We're home, I said. She nodded, smiling at the carving. Can we stay here forever? As long as we want, I said. Later that night, after she fell asleep, I sat by the window with a mug of coffee and watched the snow drift across the yard. The only sound was the crack of the fire. My phone buzzed once on the table. New email. I almost ignored it, but curiosity made me check. From Eric, subject. You win. That was all it said. No message, no attachment. I stared at it for a second, then deleted it without replying. The room was warm, quiet. I looked over at Lily asleep on the couch, the wolf toy still tucked under her arm. The carved initials outside caught the light from the window. I turned the phone face down on the table and leaned back. You don't win by shouting louder. You win by ending it. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.